I'll be damned. Tesla is actually up 0.25% today as the NASDAQ is down over 1%. What's going on? And why is Tesla so much more relatively bullish than the broader tech sector? Well, here's one thing in particular that I will point out. It has to do with India. And as Sawyer Merritt says, this is indeed a big win for Tesla. India says it will lower import taxes on certain EVs for companies committing to at least $500 million in investments and manufacturing facilities within 3 years. The new tax rate will be 15% on cars costing $35,000 and above, down from 70 to 100% currently. Which, if you look at the US for an example, the US has a tariff on foreign-made vehicles on cars about 2.5%. So this is way higher than the US standards on cars. But for trucks, that tariff is 25%. So it's actually lower than the US auto tariffs for foreign manufacturers to sell their cars in the US. Based on that metric. I think this is especially good news for Tesla because let's face it, India is not that developed today. There's areas of India that are more developed, like the capital and other strategic cities, but India will be a huge machine of growth for many years ahead as the country does become more developed, and the earlier foreign-made automakers like a Tesla can get into the country, the more established they become, the more growth that Tesla will reap over time. Let's be honest, India will be the largest, most developed country in the world at some point down the line. Relative to their population, there's a huge growth potential in India. And I guess I shouldn't say it's going to be the most developed country in the world someday, but the amount of people they have, it's going to be the most developed population. The US is not going to catch up to India's population. India's population is surpassing China's by quite a bit now. Once they are developed, that's going to be a huge population pool that Tesla can eventually sell their vehicles to. So I think this is really good longer term news for Tesla. This could be part of the reason why Tesla's stock is outperforming its other tech peers today. The other reason I think is a little bit more straightforward and kind of simple, if you will. Tesla has gotten destroyed, the worst performing stock in the S&P 500 year to date, and these other stocks have done well. So the stocks that have done well, taking a little bit of a breather today, minus Nvidia. Nvidia's up about 1%, but they have their own catalyst coming next week that will likely push the stock lower. We'll talk about that throughout this video, but it's a little bit of a rotation that's taking place today. Like, for example, if you have to be actively invested in the markets, where do you want to invest your money? What looks most attractive? Well, I would say Tesla is right up there at the top of the list. You got to think what's priced into the stock, what's priced into Nvidia. Really good news. It's going to be hard for Nvidia to impress investors. It's not going to be hard for Tesla to impress investors. So anyone that understands the logic of investing, that you actually want to buy when there's fear and there's blood out in the streets, is taking advantage of Tesla at $160 per share. You also had Adobe that reported earnings. That's really showing this AI trade is more specific to Nvidia and other semiconductors at this point. Other areas of the markets that have been deemed your AI companies, they're not doing as well today because Adobe did well, but they did not impress investors. They actually came in with lower guidance for this current quarter. So you are seeing a rotation based on that as well. In fact, the Russell 2000 is actually up 1/3% today, whereas the NASDAQ is down almost 1%. Triple Q's down about 1.25%. It also helps that Cathie Wood just bought about 217,000 shares of Tesla, the largest single day buy for Tesla in a long time. She bought almost 162,000 shares in her ARK-K fund. Her ARK-Q fund bought 18,543 shares, and her ARK-W fund bought 36,183 shares. This was a combined purchase of about $35 million yesterday. So again, people that like to follow Cathie and invest alongside Cathie, they're probably buying some Tesla stock as well today. I do want to share this post that I made on the X account. If you guys want to see these posts first, go ahead and follow the X account. It's Michael Tyler over there. But I think these are quotes that are very applicable to Tesla investors right now, what you've experienced in 2024 so far. And these quotes are from Peter Lynch, one of the best investors that have ever lived. He says, buy only what you understand, believe in, and intend to stick with, even when others are chasing the next miracle. I think that's very applicable to AI stocks, Nvidia right now, whereas, I mean, you can make the argument Tesla's the best AI stock out there, but people are chasing the next miracle, really counting out some other names like a Tesla, and I think that's a terrible time, terrible strategy, but a terrible time nonetheless to do so. He also says, if discounting terrific things are already in the stock, I don't want to own it. I think this is the most eye-opening quote of them all, because I talk about this almost every single day, priced in. What Peter Lynch is basically saying, if you have really high expectations priced into a stock, odds are it's priced for perfection. Odds are it's richly valued, and odds are it's going to be very hard for that stock to impress investors. To the contrary, if terrible things are priced into a stock like Tesla, it becomes a lot better of a stock to own. He says, you can lose money very fast in 2 months, but you very rarely make money very fast in the stock market. When I look back, my great stocks took a long time to work out. And I think that's also applicable to now. Give it a couple of years, and I think you're going to make quite a bit of money. And if you can't wait a couple of years, I get it. Some people are older. Some people want stocks to go straight up now. If you don't have a couple of years, you should put your money into bonds right now. I mean, you could buy a 10-year treasury that'll pay you, almost 4.5%. If you don't have 10 years to invest, if you're going to count yourself short and, say you don't have 10 years left, well, you want to put your money into bonds. That would be the best thing that any financial advisor would tell you to do right now. He says, the best companies often thrive even as their competitors struggle to survive. And you see that right now with Tesla. Tesla, relative to Lucid or Rivian or Fisker that just went bankrupt or other players in the EV field, Tesla is thriving comparatively to these other guys. And that just shows you how great of a company Tesla is. He says a correction is a wonderful opportunity to buy your favorite companies at a bargain price. Well, I mean, that's the most applicable Tesla quote I think we have today. You're just buying Tesla at bargain prices compared to where it used to be. He says there is no such thing as a worry-free investment. The trick is to separate the valid worries from the idle worries and then check the worries against the facts. Like, are the worries that we're seeing today in Tesla really warranted? Do the facts support something different? And indeed, the facts are just fine. The facts are Tesla Cybertruck is ramping. The facts are the halo effect is likely coming. The facts are FSD is improving greatly almost every single day. The fact is someday Optimus will be selling. Elon thinks maybe by the end of this year shipments will go out. Let's push that out 2 or 3 years. Eventually it will happen. Eventually the $25,000 vehicle is coming. And what's the worry right now? Tesla's demand is slowing down. EVs are not going to catch on. EV adoption is over with, and hybrids are the next wave. There's no evidence or facts to support that. And that just seems outrageous to me. So I think if you actually look at the facts on the ground with Tesla, you're going to come to the conclusion the fear is a lot worse than the facts. He says, it's worth reminding ourselves from time to time that gyrations in a stock price may tell us absolutely nothing about the prospects of the company involved. Come on. That's Tesla, man. It tells you nothing about the business. The stock has went down 35% year to date. What's changed? What's changed with Tesla since the start of 2024? Nothing. If anything, actually good news. Tesla's actually raised prices on the Model 3 in the US, at least for the long range. You really haven't seen any price cuts. What's changed? That's the argument that I'll make to you. What has changed besides investor psyche and the worries that have grown in 2024? Nothing. He says, my idea of a great business is one that has a shortage of competitors. And I think that's exactly the road we're going down with Tesla. Lucid's not going to make it. Rivian's questionable. They really have to get their cash burn under control. I think ultimately Rivian will make it. You have Ford, GM slowing down EV investments. Toyota not even trying to compete in EVs. There's a shortage of competitors for high quality EVs today. And it looks like there's about 250 Cybertrucks sitting in Giga Texas parking lots waiting to be delivered. This is down from the 300 we seen yesterday. So 60 or so Cybertrucks were likely shipped out to customers. Presumably, these guys are going to be shipped out today as well, or over the next couple of days. On that note, I think it's also worth mentioning a lot of people are not putting any kind of true numbers into their Cybertruck models. And let me tell you, there's a chance for an upside surprise in a faster than expected ramp of the Cybertruck. And there's 2 million pre-orders for the Cybertruck. I would say maybe half of those convert into actual orders. A little bit more, a little bit less, doesn't matter. There's 1 million or so, roughly, Cybertrucks that are ready to be sold. The faster those get built, the faster those get sold, and the less cash burn you will see, the less hit to profitability you will see because of the Cybertruck. And I think that is an upside catalyst that not a lot of people are considering. Tesla attached a trailer to the Cybertruck with glass exterior with glass windows and says the best-selling car in the world is made in America and you have a Model Y inside. And I say, damn right. You know, it's the funniest thing when you talk to people about Tesla and they think Tesla is some kind of like foreign company. It's kind of crazy how little information there really is out there. So maybe that gets fixed with the advertising efforts that Tesla is doing. But nonetheless, I think that just shows me, and I live in Michigan, so granted I'm pretty far from California or other population centers that are big on Teslas already. That just shows me there's a lot of growth left in this country alone. I'm in America for Tesla. And you can now directly connect friends to a Tesla advisor. Quote, when enabled, a group message will be created with you, your friend, and Tesla when you tap refer now. A Tesla advisor will reach out separately to assist your friend once they agree to be messaged. Tesla has started installing the new yoke. An owner today told Sawyer Merritt that the quality is much improved. The center horn is great and the camera button replaces where the horn used to be. Told the blinker buttons are a big improvement, more clicky and tactical, and give a better response overall. Travis Scott shared a photo of his new Cybertruck with his 55 million Instagram followers. This is likely a reason why you have seen some very strong search trend activity for the Cybertruck recently, but something strange has happened in the first couple of weeks in March. You're seeing Google Trends data just not working anymore, going straight to zero. This is obviously not true. You were in a very upwards trajectory from hitting that low at about 15 or so the first week or two of January to a high of about 28 through March 2nd. But ever since March 3rd to March 9th, we have no data, and basically Google Trends just stopped working. But it does look like maybe Kim Kardashian, Justin Bieber, Travis Scott now, Pharrell Williams, all these other individuals with big following bases, right? They're posting about their Cybertruck. The auto shows the Cybertrucks there, right? Chicago, other auto shows like in China. You're definitely seeing the search trend activity picking up. And I think maybe a halo effect could be coming because of that. You were seeing a good ramp up in activity for the Model 3, the Model Y even, and the Model X. And then again, it all just pretty much fell to zero. And this is obviously a problem on Google's part, not Tesla's part. And here in this video, you can see a train carrying new Teslas into Norway. Hundreds of them, which really, again, flies in the face of Tesla's demand slowing down. Based on anything I can gather or see, that's just not the case. Sure, is it not as explosive as people thought? Of course. Look at where rates are. We were expecting 7 rate cuts in 2024. That's now down to maybe 1, maybe none, maybe a rate hike in 2024. Of course, demand is not as hot as some people thought, but it's still good. Adam Jonas has released a new Tesla note. He says, our industry discussions suggest Elon Musk is spending increased amounts of time focused on Optimus. Our $320 price target for Tesla is comprised of auto hardware, auto-related software and services, and energy-related businesses, while Tesla's competencies in computer vision, machine learning, AI, and robotics may have a multitude of adjacent commercial applications. We have not included such revenue streams, including Optimus, into our model or valuation at this time. That just tells me someday, some point, that will happen, and people have to become more optimistic on Tesla. Now, to when that ultimately happens, I think that's the question of when does Optimus actually start selling to companies, and when does FSD and the robotaxi network actually come along. Now, this is pretty remarkable. Tesla shared this video on their official Tesla account with a Powerwall literally submerged in 2 or 3 feet of water there, still working. That's kind of insane. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that. So your house could almost flood completely and your Powerwall would still power things. You probably wouldn't need to make coffee or use the stove at that point, right? But you could if you wanted to. Get a snack out the fridge. Why not? You're just in 3 feet of water. Global inventory numbers for the Tesla lineup show an uptick in Model Y inventories. Model S is falling a little bit. Model 3 and Model X staying pretty much the same. And Tesla continues to run about 3,000 different ads via Google. Sentiment for Tesla today is less bullish actually than it was yesterday. Yesterday, it was 64 over here on StockTwits. Today, it's 58. That's pretty interesting. Message volume yesterday was 80, categorized as extremely high. Today, it's at 67, so still high, but not as high as yesterday. And the participation ratio is still sitting at about 55, which is the same as the last couple of days. Overall, some very strong numbers. I wouldn't have expected to see this strong of numbers, sentiment that was this good, message volume this high, and the participation ratio this high. I think that is a good sign for Tesla. Option activity from hedge funds and institutions today, well, you can see 489 different trades totaling $171.22 million with a positive order value of 40%. So not great. You do have volume today to the call side of 54.3% and volume to the put side of 45.7%. I would also like to remind you that 2 days ago, it looked like there was a couple $1 billion worth of option activity from hedge funds and institutions via selling puts. Last time we seen that was on October 25th. The stock did fall for the next couple of days and ultimately fell like 3% more after that, and then bottomed and then proceeded to rally like 36.5%. Does that happen again? I don't know, but to expect a bottom here and a bounce would not surprise me at this point. But we do have some problems coming next week with the Fed, as well as on Monday with the GTC conference with NVIDIA. We'll talk about that more in the next video, but these are potential problems, especially as the NASDAQ has now broke down and no longer looks bullish on the technicals and on the charts. Again, we'll break this down a little bit more in the next video. You definitely do not want to miss it. Nonetheless, for Tesla stock, I think the important level to really watch is this downtrending line here. Tesla stock has started to bottom around the 160 level, and I think that's a pretty solid level to find a bottom. Ultimately, are you going to fall more? Probably. You're probably going to fall back to about 150, but in the near term, if we can get above about 163, almost 164, then things start to look a little bit better for Tesla. Maybe we retrace all the way back up to about 175 or so. That would be my expectation in the short term if next week is not bad like I think it could be with the Fed or with the potential sell the rumor or sell the news event with NVIDIA's GTC conference. But odds are we probably do fall a little bit more from here because I think it's clear the markets are probably going to fall a little bit more. And sure, could Tesla outperform? Could Tesla be green when the markets are selling off? It could. I think the likelihood of that is not that high though. It appears as if there is a lot of demand to short Tesla stock today, with cost to borrow fees sitting right there at about 10% yet again. And there has been a lot of shorting activity as of recently, with 3.46% of Tesla stock, Tesla shares outstanding, being sold short. $15.56 billion currently in Tesla short positions. The percent of stocks above the 50-day moving average is pretty flat today, slightly in the green, 0.04%. So you're pretty much at a coin toss, 50.26% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. I think it's green right now, where the NASDAQ and the S&P are down a lot because of that outperformance in the Russell 2000. So something to definitely keep in mind. Now, if we take a look at TLT is up 0.11%, meaning rates are falling a little bit today, but really not a big deal in the grand scope of things. The dollar is down about 0.15%, so that's just pretty good, right? You want to see the dollar fall. The dollar falling is good news. And gold is down 0.21%, which at this point is likely good news as well. Goldman Sachs is telling their clients to buy calls on the VIX, suggesting the markets could fall a lot further from here. And McDonald's CFO just made some shocking warnings about the consumer. All of this could feed into next week's major events, and we'll break it down in the next video coming out at 8 p.m. tonight. In the meantime, Tesla stock is up 0.5%. Leave your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns down below in the comment section. How are you feeling about Tesla stock and the broader markets right now? If you guys would also like to come trade with us live in real time, check out that link down below in the description of this video. We did just hit last night a 250 to 300 or 400% return on Adobe puts, just depending on when you sold them. Check that out, link down below in the description of this video. We did put on a trade today for next week. I don't think it's too late to be involved in hedging out your portfolio in case next week is a rough one. Let me know what you think again about this information down below in the comment section. If you guys would like to go follow the X account, it's Michael Tyler over there. It costs you absolutely nothing to do so. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.